Final Stop Brazil. Book 2, Life After Hell. Chapter 68. Hitchhiking Across Germany. July the 5th, 2010. I arrived in Germany, landed in Frankfurt, Maine, airport, and found myself hitchhiking to the Vogtland in the east of Germany. Help I couldn't expect from anyone here. From the police at the airport I received information that the institution is a service company. The days of the police, your friend and helper, had long gone. I placed myself right in front of the police building on the street with my luggage and stuck out my thumb. The 700 reais I had still earned before with my translations, and which would have survived me the entire month in Salvador, I had changed at the airport and received 200 euros. I could not and would not spend this on a train ticket. Wasn't even sure if it would have been enough. Who knew when next I would receive money? After about 1.5 hours, someone finally gave me lift to a motorway parking place in Kassel. Unfortunately, I was not aware that I should have taken the route towards Basel, which would have been faster. So I lost a lot of time, and it took me 2 days to arrive. Quickly I learned that this service station was a meeting point for quick sex, getting away from there as fast as possible. So I took the first offer of one car driver. He, however, seemed to have understood something wrong, because he rode with me to Offenburg and asked if he could kiss me. "Are you crazy?" was my question in return. Annoyed, he then dropped me off in the city of Offenbach at a gas station, where absolutely nothing was happening, and I was afraid to get stuck here. It would not have been so bad if I had a reasonable suitcase with wheels, but I couldn't even afford that, so I dragged my entire possessions over the shoulder up to a major intersection. Here a cyclist passed me and spoke. "Girl, what are you doing? That is far too dangerous." This woman was trying hard to convince me to take a bus or a train. Great idea, but how to do without money? Then she began to rummage in her bag. "Come, I'll give you some money so that you can move on with public transport without hitchhiking." Well, very nice, but it didn't exactly meet my expectations, what she gave me. 4 euros. But still the woman only wanted to help. I was lucky again and picked up by a Pakistani driver who rode with me first to Hanau because he had to do something there. We had a quite nice and extensively conversation, since he then rode back with me all the way to Offenbach, then to Frankfurt, and from there to the highway where he dropped me at a service station in the direction of Kassel. Lots of trucks were here, but none of them made a move to drive. They had to stick to the statutory truck immobilization times. I felt hungry, so I ate there for the first time in 8 years a schnitzel. It was already after 8 o'clock at night when I found a driver who promised to take me by 11 o'clock to Kreilsheim. This he did, and it was another fun ride with a short break when he had to replace the trailer, dropped me before at a truck stop where I had time for a coffee. Then he went on. In Kreilsheim, however, where he dropped me so I could move on towards Nuremberg, was an end of my journey for this night. All night I stood at the truck stop, freezing. There was no opportunity to sit down anywhere, and it was bitterly cold. Here too all drivers had their break and slept. The few trucks arriving or departing were here from Poland, and the drivers understood not a word. After the restaurant opened in the morning and I indulged on a royal breakfast, I caught a driver going to Nuremberg. He took me up to a rest stop just before Nuremberg. Looking at the map, I felt quite lost now, so I entered the restaurant and just asked 2 truck drivers whether they headed towards the Vogtland. Again, luck was on my side. I was so exhausted that I actually fell asleep on the passenger seat. chatting in my sleep with the driver in Portuguese, as he told me later. When he dropped me at another rest stop in the Fortland, I decided to phone the book publisher who had offered to pick me up. But before I could do that, a car of the customs police stopped next to me. The officers got out, wanted to see my passport, and, having recognized that I came from Brazil, I was asked to follow them to a private toilet, where they first searched my bags. Then I had to undergo a physical search and a drug test. Will this shit go on forever? Which, to make matters worse, turned out positive. Now I protested that I wanted a precise clarification because I never took drugs. The officers explained that the test equipment or the results were not always 100% sure and sometimes turned out positive, even if one had just touched another or changed money with someone who used drugs. Great! Why do they utilize those tests then? After they had driven off, they came back again to perform some investigation with reference to my passport. I asked them what they were actually accusing me of. The answer: you must understand us. We are only doing our work. You are coming from Brazil, and we had to assume that you have smuggled drugs. Yes, the shit was going on forever. Since they found nothing because there was nothing to find, they finally left me alone. Welcome to Germany. It all happened pretty quickly. Soon I found my own little apartment, received support from the employment office, but was still looking for work after 1 month. I was not feeling well and feared the cold that I could already feel right now. With my son Michael, I had no contact at all initially, and later very rarely. Actually, it didn't make a difference to him whether I was here in Germany or somewhere else. I was ready to set off again immediately, but I vowed to hold out for my boys, Ida and Raphael, earn money and send them to private schools. Although in this town I would not stay. Maybe I would go to Berlin, Munich, or Frankfurt, not to Hamburg. But no matter where I would go, my heart is somewhere else and will remain in Brazil.